not going to lie, I'm not sure how I felt about this episode of Super Lovers. I mean, parts of it were good, but in a confusing kind of way. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the episode, don't get me wrong about that. It's just I'm not sure if I'm happy about what happened or if I'm sad about what happened. And this is where I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this review, but I mean, this is just my opinion. A lot of what happened would be good moving forward, to be honest. I mean, this is the thing. Neither Haru nor Ren meant what they were saying pretty much halfway through this episode onwards. They just got into really bad moods and started throwing shit at each other and expecting the other one to deflect it, and neither one of them. Like, they're both in this mindset where it's like, oh, I'll say this, and then if he actually has feelings about me, he'll say that. And then the other one will be like, oh god, he's saying that, so he must not have feelings for me, so I guess I should back off. They're continuously doing this confusing thing where both of them want to be with each other, but they both feel like they're being a pain to one another and messing things up with each other, so they're backing off from each other, and oh man. Again, not sure if that's a good or bad thing. It should really be a good thing for Ren. Ren's not ready for the type of relationship that Haru wants, but maybe he needs someone in his life like that. I mean, preferably not someone at Haru's age, but at least Haru was taking care of him and being gentle with him and all of that. I mean, we basically saw what Haru was like before the woman in this episode. That's what really got me. That scene was actually really dark and chilling. I mean, Haru comes walking in, opens the door. He's all in darkness. He's got that dark look on his face. For one thing, yeah, kind of sexy. But really scary for the fact that Ren's this, like, tiny 15-year-old boy that he was going after at this point. And just that line that he said at one point. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't even meant to be that serious. It was just meant to be nothing too big. But when he said, I'm not letting your precious dog into this room anymore, it literally sounded like he was saying something abusive, like, oh, you don't even get to see your dog anymore. It's only me. So, I mean, that scene was really dark to me, even though it's a Super Lovers. It wasn't meant to be that incredibly dark. We were just seeing a glimpse into what Haru was like before he got changed. And then they made it super light and funny afterwards anyway, because as soon as Ren bit him, he was back to, like, chibi mode, being normal Haru. Even though he was still being stupid and acting based on alcohol, at least he wasn't being aggressive anymore. And I like Ren for that. Like, I feel bad now for all the women that Haru met when he was younger. Because he's being called this womanizer, and it's being talked about how he went through all these women. And God, if he was doing that with all the women, just being straight up aggressive like that with them, and they just weren't biting him or fighting back. Oh, poor chicks. And I like the fact that he did eventually find an older chick, and the older chick actually managed to change him and turn him into a better person. But that goes against the character that I've thought Haru was for so long. Unless he's the kind of character he is now, but with his brothers back then. Like, that would make sense. Even Kiyo said that there are 3 types of people to him: his family, his brothers, and everyone else. So if he was showing a different face to his brothers at home and to his family and being super nice and the normal Haru to them, but then he was taking out his frustrations and doing whatever he wanted with everyone else in the other world, and, you know, just being overly aggressive with people and women, that would make sense, actually. If he was so repressed at home and pretending to be such this perfect child who does all the housework and does everything that everybody else wants from him, but then in the outside world he couldn't hold back, so he just went ahead and grabbed whatever he wanted. So yeah, Haru and Ren's relationship is at an interesting point now. Because really, if they did move on from this, and right now their friendship at all, like the brotherly friendship, is at a point where it's very tenuous. I mean, they're so awkward around each other. Haru keeps thinking he needs to find a way to get back to being Ren's lover, and Ren's clearly repressing his feelings of actually wanting to be Haru's lover and thinking he should just try to be his little brother from now on, and it's so confusing. But if they were actually willing to move on from this point and grow up and just be brothers, and Haru went to meet the girl that Kiyo wants him to meet, and Ren moved on and found another boy or woman in his life eventually, that could be fine, but I don't know, man. You can tell that's not going to happen because this is Super Lovers. It's a boys' love thing, and, you know, Haru and Ren are at least good for each other. One thing that kind of ruined the ending for me is how happy that ending theme is, man. I mean, they shouldn't have played it this episode, because it was just like serious times. Like, Haru was freaking out about what he'd done the last night. Ren was showing how deeply it affected him. And then suddenly it's all like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, wow. You can't play that while this is still going on. Like, Haru's still freaking out and breaking down inside. You've got that nice upbeat song coming in. It's like, oh my god. Just change it to something for this one episode. So, a lot of people were wondering what I would think about Kiyo. And she's a very odd character for me. I mean, in some ways, I really like her. She's really funny when she's with Iku and she's with Haru. And she clearly cares about Haru. And it all kind of also depends on what Haru's past woman is like. The one that's older than Haru and got fired for having a relationship with him. Like, Kiyo clearly has a strong bond with her. And she really wants to make sure that that woman gets with Haru. So she says she owes that woman something for changing Haru. So she does really 100% care about Haru. But at the same time, she was just such a bitch to Ren. Like, she instantly assumed that Ren was this little gold-digging boy who came in to make Haru take care of him and probably just used his body and seduced Haru, which is just like the complete opposite. He wanted like nothing to do with Haru. He just wanted to play with his dogs. So she's got the completely wrong view of him. If that changes, that might be okay. But in this episode, she was such a bitch to him. Really looking down on him like, oh, you're such a cocky little brat, and telling him that he was getting in the way, and oh man. There was one good line she did though, when she asked Ren directly, because she's the first one who really cut to the chase and said to Ren, okay, then I'll ask directly, as a man, as a boy, and as his brother, how do you feel about Haru? And really cut through everything to basically say, do you like him or not? Or are you just like playing with him? And man, that did shake Ren, and it made him think about the fact that he is a child and he is his brother and he is not really in the position where he should actually be with Haru. But, you know, they've made it very clear in this anime, which I find surprising, how legal their situation is in Japan. Like, they've made it 100% clear that if Haru and Ren aren't blood related, which they're not, it's completely legal in Japan. So that's cool. I'm like more relaxed with it now. It's not my culture if they want to have underage relationships like that. You know, it's not underage for them. So that's fine. In which case, it really is all up to Ren. I mean, I don't think a relationship like that would work for too long, but that's just my opinion on things. So, it's all up to Ren and Haru now, man. Both of them are hiding what they really feel. I really want Haru to go meet this woman from the past. She sounds interesting. Oh, man. It sounds like she changed him in a big way, but then she got fired for everything, and I'm wondering if Haru did the same thing to her that he's currently doing to Ren. Because right at the end of this episode, he said the whole, I made him say this too, when it came to Ren talking about just wanting to be his brother. He said that too, as if he'd done this before, possibly to the past woman. Maybe he did the same thing to her, freaking out and, you know, just screaming at her, being aggressive with her, and then when he didn't get his way, which he probably wouldn't with an older woman who actually knows what she wants and isn't just going to be pushed around, he probably snapped at her and said some mean things to her, and eventually she had to walk away from it all. Even after she'd lost her job, which is even worse. Or maybe he even chose to make her lose her job and told people about the relationship due to that. That would be horrible. I really hope Haru didn't do that. Because in that case, that's the worst thing he's ever done in his past, rather than just womanizing and shit. Oh, man. Still, this was a great episode. I'm just not sure, again, Haru and Ren, should they be together? God damn, I did not start this series expecting to actually be wondering if the 26-year-old and 16-year-old should stay together. And being on the fence of that question. But we'll see, man. Haru is still emotionally immature as fuck. He definitely needs to meet the woman, man. Need to see what he was like back then. I mean, we got a glimpse of it. We need to, like, see a proper flashback to what he was really like. And he needs to grow up and realize that he doesn't have to do everything for Ren. He's treating him basically like a sugar daddy. Let's be honest here. He's got this whole thing, and Ren's literally like, oh, you got this house for me, you got cooking for me, you put me in the room with the cherry tree. Literally everything is apparently been done for Ren. So that is fucked up, man. Like, Haru has to have his own reason to do things. He can't just do everything for the sake of Ren. That's not how a relationship works at all. So I don't know. Let's see what happens in the next episode. I'm very interested. Haru and Ren are all interesting characters. Kiyoka too, and Aki and Shima. Not so much Shima. He doesn't really do much. But the rest of them are. So I want to see how this goes down. God damn, we've only got a few episodes left because this one's ending with episode 10. So that's a bit sad. But let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. And if you like this review, then wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already seen more. And I will see you guys next time.